So welcome to the channel. Thank you for stopping by. I trust we're all doing well, getting on with life. This journey of life is so interesting. I am reminded of that song, Man in the Mirror, but I like to think of it as Girl in the Mirror. Sometimes it's good to stop and look at yourself and ask, who really am I? They say one of the steps to success is self-awareness, knowing your strengths, your weaknesses, knowing what you're good at and what you're not good at, knowing what you like, what you don't like, and then even most essentially understanding, why am I here? We did the Alpha course and we asked that question, why am I here? What is your own purpose? And all of us have a purpose. We're all part of a bigger picture that God has through your upbringing, your unique advantage, what makes you you, and what makes you tick, what makes you relevant in the place you have found yourself. You cannot just be occupying space, eh? You just occupy space, eat it, drink it, occupy space. No, there must be something that you're relevant for. And so coming to that place of self-awareness, understanding, who am I? Who is Dr. Judith? And what is she about? What makes her happy? What makes her challenged? What even makes her go? Why does she wake up in the morning? What is it really all about? So I think that is a question at some point, or at very many points, we need to ask ourselves. And so I like to look at it as the girl in the mirror. If you're a guy, you may say the guy in the mirror or the man in the mirror. You just look at yourself and ask yourself, who is this person looking at me? The psychologists say the ability to come away from yourself and look at yourself is something that is given to us as humans. A dog cannot do that. A lion cannot do that. But you can actually pause and look at yourself, right? Can we do that? Like now, I'm going to pause and look at myself. Okay, what am I really doing? Is this something that I should be doing? Is this part of my purpose? Is this part of my journey? So how do we become self-aware? And how do you become even your own cheerer, your own critique? How do you become more conscious of your actions and your activities? I mean, as a Catholic, we'll say for sins we've committed and for the sins of omission, the sins of things I have not done. You were instructed to go and do something, but for some reason you have not done it. It's not just the sin of commission, but even the sin of omission. It's a unique advantage to become self-aware, take stock, and not to take stock so you bury yourself or criticize yourself into depression. No, but to take stock and plan an action. How do I go forward from here? What is the next step? What do I want to see next? I always like to think about KFC. KFC. KFC is all over. And if you, like me, have worked in rural areas, rural KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa, KFC is at almost every stop. It's one of those things that you can buy and take into the rural areas, or that you can even find in the rural areas, and it will still be the same KFC. But KFC was started by a man in his 60s, right? He still had that opportunity to go for it again, because I cannot imagine that in his 20s, he didn't try anything. In his 30s, he didn't do anything. 40s, he didn't. Then 50s, he didn't. And only at 60, he tried the first thing and it made it. He would have tried so many, tried the first one, it failed. We'll probably never hear about it because it's probably an embarrassment to him. And then the second, he failed, up until the time when he was 60. By the way, that's Kentucky Fried Chicken for those who don't know what it is. When you look at the logo, you will see it's an old man there because it was done in his latter years, Even if you have one day to make an impact, I think it's still something that could be very relevant to the whole scheme of things, to the whole of humanity. You cannot say that, oh, I am now 40, so I'm old. Who was it I was talking to recently? And she's in her I think she's maybe 40, 45, 48. And she's like, hey, I'm old. I'm like, okay, so what does that mean? Does it mean time is out, time is up? Or does it mean you're now going to intensify your effort to make an impact? And even if you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s, you can still get up. You still have the opportunity. You are still breathing. That is an opportunity, the gift of a new day for you to get up and make an impact. So, how do you do this? I think it's always nice to have a mirror and look in the mirror and see who you are now, appreciate where you have come from, and then look forward and see where you want to be. So in that wise, you can again stand away from yourself and look at yourself. Look at what you're going through. A Bible verse that says, a little sleep, a little slumber, so shall a man's poverty come upon him. So if you find that you are sleeping excessively, you look at yourself, say, hey, gosh, this is my life. My life, I'm just sleeping my life away. Or you look at yourself, say, I'm just wasting time. I'm just wasting things away. I'm just not achieving anything. Look at yourself and ask yourself, why is that the case? Is it that you have not set any goal? You've not set any objectives for yourself? You've not set any vision, even in the situation you find yourself. So it's time to take stock. It's time to look at yourself again, not at the end of the year. Now, today, look at yourself and say, what is it? Where am I? What can I do? How can I make an impact? How can I give and receive? How can I be relevant? How can I take up my position? And then in that way, by taking stock of where you are now, you may now start thinking, where do I want to be in another 3 years? Where do I want to be in another 3 months? Where do I want to be in another three weeks or 3 days? It's you have the right, you have the power. God gives us the present, right? The present being a present, a gift, right? It's in that present. So what do you do with that present that you have? Even if it's just not being a burden to somebody else, just being able to look after yourself, I think it's also a good thing, right? Rather than you being a burden, everybody's looking after you. Yes, there's situations where we may find ourselves where we need to be looked after. But how do you even respond to that care and love that is given to you? Do you say thank you? Do you say, oh, I really appreciate what you've done for me today? Or you just look like it's not your fault, it's because I can't. So do you just look at the whole situation and not even show gratitude for the love that you're receiving? I remember at a point in time, it was difficult. And I remember the Holy Spirit just saying, just say thank you. If they say no, say thank you. If they say yes, say thank you. If they say not now, say thank you. Just keep on saying thank you. And I'm telling you, that worked so much. I remember early days, and I send a message to my husband, maybe please buy us bread and milk. And then he goes and he buys bread and milk. And let's say he adds spinach, right? I'm like, why did you buy spinach? Now I have to stay and cut up the spinach. Why are you creating work for me? But it was like, just say thank you, right? Say thank you. Then afterwards, you can now start asking, oh, to cut this up, I hope you'll be able to help me because I may not be able to do this or that. So really looking at where you are and how you engage with the present, not wishing the time away, but what can you do with the now? So looking at the girl in the mirror, you look at yourself and you make that change, right? How does the song go? Girl, talking to the man in the mirror, take a look at yourself and make that change, So you could be, nobody says thank you. Start saying thank you. Nobody gives you anything. Start giving. Nobody phones you. Phone someone. Nobody sends you Happy Mother's Day. Send Happy Mother's Day to somebody. Nobody sends you happy birthday. Wow. Please send happy birthday to others. Don't say because they didn't send me, I'm not going to send anybody. It's always good to take that time to reflect on who really am I. And when I did that exercise, I asked myself, so who am I? Who is this Dr. Judith? And I realized that I'm so many. In fact, I'm just so many. What can I say? I just have so many personalities, right? Not in a bipolar way or anything, but I show up to so many people in different ways, right? I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a colleague, I'm a friend, I'm also an employer, I'm a mentor, I'm also a teacher, I'm a Sunday school teacher. Okay, that's interesting. I'm a Bible study teacher. Wow, okay. You're not just, you know, I'm also a lecturer. I'm a supervisor. Wow. I supervise my students and I'm hoping that they get it. When they go away, they actually just light up and say, wow. So I'm that supervisor. I'm a colleague. I can cover up for a colleague who is down or not being able to fulfill their role. So I'm that. By the way, I'm also an architect. I'm a professional in the built environment. I have a responsibility to look out for the built environment, whether I'm being watched or I'm not. Okay. So what else? What else? Who else are you? So the more we start writing it down and unpacking who you are by default. So there's just so many roles, that you will find. Ooh, how could I forget that? I'm an auntie. I've got nieces and nephews, right? So you now start seeing this, in my bank, I'm one of the esteemed clients in the banking sector, right? So you start seeing your different roles, your different responsibilities, different areas that you can make an impact, right? I'm a responsible citizen in the country that I live and in my home country. So you really, really, really need to look at who are you? Who is that girl? Who is that guy? Who is that mama, papa? Who is this person that is looking back at you in the mirror? And then you may find that you're even a caregiver because you care for those who may be sick in one way or another. You may find that you're even an intercessor because you pray for those who are going through things, going through it, or going through things, going through whatever it is. By just taking time, pausing and looking at who is this person. And then in that way, you may find that there are some dormant areas that you actually need to tap into. And maybe it is those areas that will take you to your next level. Yes, we all know it's such a traumatic, I don't know if I should use the word traumatic. It's such an experience becoming a mother. Nobody needs to remind you are a mother because they force it on you, whether you like it or not. When I scream, you must jump. So you can't forget that. But there's some parts of you, there's some roles, there's some dimensions of you that you may forget if you don't activate them. So some of us, we are prayer intercessors, right? And maybe your own prayer watch is 3 a.m., for instance. And then you forget. But each time at 3 a.m., you wake up. It's like, okay, I'm awake. What next? You don't know what to do because you have not activated that part of who you are as the intercessor, right? And then there's some of us, people keep on coming to us, asking us questions. You're a counselor. You do it, but you haven't really, really taken time to nurture that part of you, to understand that part of you, to create that time where you can give out good counsel, wisdom to others. It's there, but you have not nurtured it. In different ways, take that time, take a step back, come out of yourself and look at yourself and say, who is this person? What is my role? How can I make my impact? Yeah. Another point, as a mother, you may just feel, oh, the children are out of the house. Now I have no function. No, that is when you have even a bigger function. Get a prayer guide. How do I pray for the children? Even on phone apps, you could get a prayer guide. How do I pray for my adult children? How do I pray for my baby children? How do I pray for even their spouses? For those who are looking up to marriage, your children are looking up to marriage. How do I pray? I don't know how to. So what are you going to do about that? If you don't know how to, then we go out and look for how do I pray for adult children, right? Because we've not done this before. For new mothers, new fathers, you don't understand. My wife not talking to me now. She just pouring all her love on this baby. How do you support them? How do you become the chief supporter of your tribe, of your team? That is by reflecting on who really am I? What is my role now in this season? How do I make myself truly relevant in this season that I am at? And each of us will have it, even as a child. What is my role as a child? Go to school, read your books, bring water for your mom or dad, keep them in prayer. Even children, keep your parents in prayer. But how do you know this? Is by looking at yourself again. Am I just being a good child? Yes, there are pressures, but you see there is one and there is another. What are those good qualities that you feel you don't know how to, but maybe you can learn, right? So it's by looking at yourself in the mirror and looking for that change, looking for where you can be relevant, looking for how you can make the world a better place, right? For you and for me, and as that song would go. Maybe the charge also to myself is to continue to reflect, continue to look or ask yourself, who am I? What is the vision? What is my purpose? Because in understanding who you are, you will fit into your purpose. You will come to understand what your real purpose is going forward and become a better person, become a better part of the bigger scheme of things. Yeah. So thanks once again for stopping by. I hope there's some takeaways from this video. Please do share with others, and also send me your comments. I will surely respond to you. It may be delayed, but you will get a response. And then let's see how we can make things better for each other, and make the world a better place. Thanks, guys. Bye.